We are halfway through 2024 already, and we are well into the scuba diving season, at least for the Northern Hemisphere. Sorry, Southern Hemisphere people. And that means that we've got some new diving equipment with some shiny features and some bright colours. Hi, all of you awesome scuba divers out there. Welcome to the Scuba Diving Magazine channel, your favourite place for the latest scuba diving news and gear reviews. We've seen quite a few interesting pieces of dive equipment drop so far this year. There have been quite a few dive computers, so I have put a few of the best ones, in my own personal opinion, on this list, and thrown in a range of gear that I like as well. They're in no particular order. There's no winners or losers, or this is better than that just because it's in at like number 2 instead of 3. It's just kind of as it came into my mind. This video is sponsored by scuba.com, so links to these are going to be down in the description under this video, and yeah, they're not in any particular order. So if you're in the market for some new dive equipment, you can click on the link and see what scuba.com has to offer. They sell all of the latest diving equipment from all of the top brands, and they're always running deals on their equipment, so it's definitely worth tuning in every so often to see what their latest deal is. But they do more than just sell diving equipment. Scuba.com teaches courses, they organize diving holidays, so it's definitely worth spending some time browsing their website instead of just looking at their homepage and see what else they offer. But first, yeah, let's dive into number 1. The Sunto Ocean came out of the blue and continued the trend of multi-sport computers so that you can wear it all of the time whilst it monitors your heart rate and your sleep quality, as well as doing like GPS with free downloadable maps that you can download from their app, and then just on dog walks or hiking or mountaineering, whatever you're doing, even scuba diving, whilst the GPS doesn't work underwater, it will point your like entry and exit points. But Sunto has also developed the dive route, which uses all of the sensors like accelerometers and magnetometers and clever stuff inside of the ocean to actually plot a 3-dimensional map of your dive, which is very cool, and you can check back later. Both on the surface and underwater. It's a little powerhouse of a computer. It has every sports mode that you can shake a stick at. I mean, in fact, if it has like cheerleading and frisbee modes, then it probably has a stick shaking mode also inside of it. A 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐿 algorithm, wireless air integration, one of the best and brightest screens that you can find on a dive computer at the moment, and up to 60 hours of dive time on a single charge. The Ocean is a very enticing offering from Sunto, especially when you see the price tag. The Shearwater Peregrine TX is an upgraded version of their popular Peregrine dive computer that now includes wireless air integration, a digital compass, and a slightly larger memory. The wireless air integration means that you can pair it to a transmitter on your regulator, and that unlocks a lot of like gas calculations and alerts on your computer. You can obviously see how much gas is left in your cylinder on a single screen. Yeah, it just unlocks a lot of features. And on top of that, it's a beautiful dive computer in itself. A large, colorful screen that draws your eyes to important information because as something changes color, it draws your attention. There's a vibration alert that gets your attention, but it doesn't bug the entire dive site by beeping away. It just vibrates on your wrist. That draws your attention. And it also has a built-in bungee option. So if you don't like a traditional watch style strap, you can just thread a bungee into it, and that's actually built into the design of the case. I was very excited when the Peregrine TX was announced because for most divers out there, it will tick every box that they're going to need and provide everything that they're ever going to need for all of their dive career. The successor to the RK3 fins, these kind of ones up here that have just taken the diving world by storm. You see them on every dive site from here to Timbuktu. The RK4 fins are a new upgraded version, and apart from looking like the offspring of a Lamborghini and a stealth bomber with these sharp lines all over it, they've improved key points from the RK3 fins. The sharp edges have been designed to enhance control and fin maneuvering whilst you're moving around in the water for those real fine touches, and the short wide blade is perfect for tight spaces, so you're not kicking your buddy in the face quite as much, or if you're in some kind of overhead environment like a shipwreck, you're not bumping into everything. The material has been optimized to be in between the standard version and the HD versions of the three as far as stiffness, so it's like that perfect middle ground for a great balance of power and efficiency. The spring heel at the back has been upgraded also. It's now adjustable, so you can adjust the length, and the pull tab is larger also, so you've got something to grab hold of without actually having some kind of loop that can get snagged on things. It's just this big pull tab. You can even just grab it nice and easily, even with chunky gloves. Whilst most of the information is already out there, and 1 or 2 sizes have actually been sent out to some dive centers, it may be a little while before we see all sizes and all colors available, but there's definitely a lot of excitement about the RK4 fins. The Scubapro S-Tek fins are a very innovative fin design. They're based on a pretty standard jet fin design that's been around since the 60s, but what Scubapro have done is throw in their modular fin system so that you can separate the blade from the foot pocket for either easier packing, because you can immediately half its length, or you can swap the foot pockets for either different size boots. If you're going from a dry suit to a wetsuit and you need a different size foot pocket, but you don't want to have to pay for the blade as well, that's a cheaper option. Or swap the blades for a different design if you want an S-Tek blade for this particular dive, but if you want something different for another dive, then you can swap them over. It is very modular. The blade itself has a unique metal plate where you can add or remove one of these little metal trim weights to fine-tune the fin's buoyancy. If you're in salt water with buoyant feet, then you can add more plates to make your fins a bit more negatively buoyant to help with your trim. If you need something a bit lighter, then you can take them off. You can customize the actual weighting of the fin itself. The monoprene, the material that they're made from, is tough for maximum power in the water and longevity from like knocks and scrapes. They're a really tough fin and very customizable as well, thanks to their modularity. An upgraded version of the Atomic B2 regulator, which is Atomic's brass and titanium regulator. The B2X has a toughened outer coating to the metal parts that makes it more durable and corrosion resistant. It also gives it this kind of sleek black finish instead of a bright chrome that you usually find on most regulators. Atomic have long been known for their really lovely regulators, and for good reason. The B2X is the newest of that. Like most Atomic regulators, it has the automatic flow control, so you can get the best performance without risking a free flow. It's basically a little vane that sits on a flexible mount, so instead of having to physically change it yourself and adjust that Venturi switch, it's all automatic. If it detects that it's about to free flow, it changes the direction of the airflow and interrupts it. All the other times you just get the peak airflow to be able to breathe from it nice and smooth. It also comes with a swivel joint on the second stage for comfort. You get less jaw fatigue because that hose isn't pulling it in any one particular direction. It's got a little bit of flexibility. And for the first stage, it's a 5-port swivel turret that's only 9 ounces lighter than the T3, so it's still lightweight, but you get all of the hose routing options that you could possibly need. We're starting to see more and more phone cases like the SeaLife Sportdiver Ultra that let you take your smartphone to scuba diving depths, so that you can actually use the awesome cameras that are built into your phone actually underwater. It can be a little bit daunting to bring your phone, which most people can't be without nowadays, underwater and risk flooding or anything, but SeaLife have understandably put many different leak proofings and alarms into it, and even a little desiccant to absorb any moisture that finds its way in, so your phone is nice and safe inside of the case. It's also one of the most universal phone cases out there. It's made to be oversized to basically fit your phone in, and then it comes with spacers that you insert, depending on your phone shape and dimensions and everything, to hold your phone in place. It then has its own software that talks to your phone via Bluetooth, turning your phone into an underwater camera. And then you can edit your photos or upload them straight to social media from your phone. It's a lot cheaper and easier to pack than a full underwater camera setup. And yeah, it's all on your phone, so it goes straight to social media. The 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭 mask was released just before Christmas last year and is made to maximize your field of view in a good looking frameless mask in some unconventional colors. It of course comes in the standard black, because everything scuba diving does, but the 𝐃𝐴 also comes in a smart blue to match their Gen 3 Argonaut dry suit, and a kind of gunmetal gray with an orange strap, which is pretty cool. Most come with the clarity glass, which is the best all-rounder of a glass lens. It's basically glass with fewer impurities for better light transmission, but there's also a contrast lens version that filters out some green wavelengths of light. So if you dive in greener waters instead of blues, then it helps to improve the contrast so you can pick things out more easily at a distance. The third generation of the Garmin Descent turned a lot of heads when it was announced towards the end of last year. Many clever bells and whistles on this one, especially when you pair it with one of Garmin's transmitters. You can send preset diver-to-diver messages to your buddies up to 30 meters, as well as monitor tank pressures for other divers and their depth for up to 8 divers within a range of 10 meters. As long as they all have the same computers and same transmitters, you can communicate rudimentarily. You're not going to be typing out text messages, but you can have some preset ones that you can send to one another, and you can monitor their gas levels and their depths as well, which is pretty cool. Heart rate monitor, GPS. I really don't have enough time in this segment to cover all of the clever things that the Descent Mark III can do, but this thing does everything, and Garmin has very quickly forged a strong reputation in the diving community, and the Mark III is one of the strongest computers on the market today, with every single feature that you can think of. Yeah, it is a real powerhouse. The AquaLung Axiom has been their flagship BCD for quite a while now, and the 24 edition looks great in my eyes. It's nice to finally see a splash of colour in an otherwise sea of black BCDs. A lot of divers will turn their noses up at a jacket style BCD, but the Axiom range has some really great features for a comfortable dive, both in and out of the water. But one thing that some of you might have noticed is that the inflator hose is missing in this version. The i3 Plus version has a different ergonomic hip inflator, so that no matter what position you're in the water, you can inflate or deflate with the flick of a switch. That's always exactly where you left it. It can't flop over your shoulder and get lost. It's always right there on your hip. The Axiom also has AquaLung's Rapture harness that better distributes the weight of your cylinder, so it's not bearing down on your shoulders, so when you're out of the water it's much more comfortable. There's both men's and women's designs, which aren't pinks or purples, so you don't have to worry about that. There is a traditional version without that i3 inflator, but I've used it before, and yeah, it is very convenient and very intuitive once you get used to it. The Orca Torch ZD710 is one of their latest offerings that can kick out 2,700 lumens at maximum power. The Z in the name is important because you can zoom the beam angle from a very tight 8-degree spotlight beam to a wide 76-degree angle in the water, so you can very quickly switch between like a communicating spotlight to focus on one thing in particular, and then you can switch it to a floodlight so that everything in front of you is just illuminated evenly. A rechargeable battery and a replaceable battery as well that you can charge from the standard USB-C fitting that you're finding on everything nowadays, so you only need to bring the one charging cable, and you can top up the battery on the go between the dives, so you're never going to have to risk running on a near empty battery. Or if you have a short surface interval, then you can just swap the entire battery, which is also great for longevity. The battery is usually the first thing to diminish on rechargeables. It just doesn't hold as much charge as it used to. So if you can just swap that part out, then the torch is going to keep on going and going. Those were 10 of my favorites so far this season, and I'm sure that we're going to continue to see more equipment. That's still like a secret in R&D departments out there at different dive manufacturers. But what do you think about any of these? These are my personal favorites. I'm sure the dive computers are going to gain plenty of attention. We've made some very large strides in dive computer technology in the past few years, but what are you in the market for? Everyone needs a new pair of fins or a new dive torch. Let me know down in the comments below, or of course let me know what your latest gear purchase was. Let's talk some new dive gear down in the comments. Remember to check out scuba.com for your next gear purchase or even holiday ideas, and check out our website scubadivermag.com for the latest scuba diving news. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.